Right, okay. Everybody ready to start? Matthew, ready? Right, thank you. Pnawn da, good afternoon. Welcome to Planning and Regulatory and Licensing meeting, 5 o'clock, Wednesday, 4th of June 2025. Please note that today's meeting may be recorded. This recording will be broadcast on the authority's website and may be used for training purposes by the Democratic Services Department. All attendees will be in view of the camera, and by attending you are consenting to being filmed and the possible use of those images and sound recordings being used as outlined above. Agenda item 1, apologies for absence. Councillor Lee Davis. 2, declarations of interest. Members are reminded of their personal responsibility to declare any personal and prejudicial interest in respect of matters contained in this agenda in accordance with the provisions of the Local Government and Finance Act 1992 relating to council tax and the Local Government Act 2000, the Council's Constitution and Members' Code of Conduct. Please note, members are reminded that they must identify the item number and subject matter that their interest relates to and signify the nature of their personal interest, and where members withdraw from a meeting as a consequence of the disclosure of a prejudicial interest, they must notify the chair when they leave. Have we got any conflict of interest? Councillor Preston.
In item number 3, because I'm a community councillor and they've already voted on this.
Thanks very much. Thank you. We now going to open.
Councillor John Thomas.
Sorry, Councillor John Thomas.
Thank you, Chair. Items 10 and 11 in the closed session, private vehicle licence, I declare personal and prejudicial in those items, and I'll be leaving the meeting.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we go to open session. Planning applications recommended under the Town and Country Planning Act 1990 and the Planning and Compensation Act 1991. Agenda item 3P 250022 16 Getley Gare Road, Tree Lewis, Tree Harris, CF 4660N, to consider a report of the Director of Governance and Resource. And I'll just wait for Jill to leave. And it's David Cross taking this, I believe.
Yep. Thank you, Chair. I'll just screen share PowerPoint presentation. Okay, thank you, Chair. So this application relates to a 2-storey, 4-bedroom detached property situated along Getley Gare Road. This property benefits from a driveway to the front that can accommodate 3 parking spaces and has a garden area to the rear. Planning permission is sought for the change of use of the property as a residential care home to provide a stable living accommodation for children between the ages of 8 to 16 that require 24-hour care. Due to various circumstances, disabilities, learning difficulties and other conditions that may require a social care system. A 2-storey rear extension is also proposed, together with the reconfiguration of the internal layout to meet the needs of the children, and this would include the provision of a disabled bedroom on the ground floor. It is noted that there were no objections raised as a result of the consultation exercise. However, following the publicity exercise, a total of 20 representations were received. The concerns raised have been set out in the report and generally relate to the size of the extension, the impact on residential amenity, the impact on housing stock in the area, highway safety concerns, parking issues and concerns relating to the future occupiers of the care home, as well as antisocial behaviour. The existing property is already used for residential purposes, and the intention is to continue to operate in a similar manner to provide living accommodation for children who require care and support in the absence of any parents. The The property would operate in much the same way as a typical family home, with carers providing the necessary support. The proposed rear extension is deemed to be of an acceptable design, would not have an unacceptable impact on the amenity of neighbouring properties, and is also considered that there's sufficient off-street parking available on the driveway, of which the parking requirements would not differ to that of for the existing use of the property. So for the reasons set out in the report, it's recommended that the application be approved, subject to the conditions on page 13 and 14. So I'll just go through a couple of slides just to kind of illustrate the proposal in more detail. So the first slide there, that's obviously the location of the site on Gekagare Road and the extent of the property. This gives you a little bit more context. So the property in question is this one here, essentially opposite the junction. So this is the property as it currently is. So as you can see at the top right, there are existing 4 bedrooms, and then on the ground floor then you've got a lounge and kitchen dining area, and across the bottom there is the elevations of the property as it stands. This is what's proposed. So there'll be a 2-storey extension, the extent of which is sort of outlined in that sort of coloured bit on the back. So there would still be essentially 4 bedrooms on the first floor. The rooms themselves would be slightly larger, and there would be a Jack and Jill sort of bathroom ensuite between them. On the ground floor, there would be an additional, what they've termed a meeting room, and a disabled bedroom provided. Below, you can see the extension on the back. So the 2 middle illustrations are the side elevations, and then you've got the bottom left the front, and then bottom right is the rear. So the roof design would have a sort of a double pitch to it. In terms of the sort of parking arrangement, the top illustrates how it currently is. So they're saying that you can essentially park 3 vehicles across the front. The same would be, the circumstance would be the same in the proposal below, except they're also suggesting that vehicles could also be parked down the side of the property as well. The photos illustrate what the property is like at present. So as you can see at the top, the front aspect of the property, the driveway has actually already been widened. I think the extent of it, the original sort of boundary was here, so that's been widened. There was historically a hedgerow across the front, that's been removed, and the driveway is essentially all been, it's got sort of like block pavers across it, so that's been improved already. The rear aspect of the property then sets out what it's like, so this would be a 2-storey extension off the back of that. I think that's everything. Thank you, Chair. Any questions?
Thank you, Dave. Right, we now go on to the public speaking element of this, and we'll go to Paul Parsons, who is the applicant. No?
Yes.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry, it's Jodie, is it? Sorry, bit of cross wires there. We'll go firstly to Jodie Bishop to speak. Jodie's online, I believe.
I'm here.
Sorry, we can't see you.
On this one.
Sorry, right, we can see you now. Yeah, so I'll give you a couple of seconds to introduce yourself, and then you've got 5 minutes in what for you to give your speech. And you are you objecting to this?
No.
You're in
The application.
you're the applicant. Yeah. You're the applicant.
Yeah.
Right, thank you. There's a few crosswires by my fault. Okay. If you start now.
So I'm Jodie Bishop.
I'm currently a deputy manager for a different residential home at the moment. We cater for potentially 10 children. We have 6 there at the moment, where obviously structured routines are in place, boundaries are in place where there's no absconding. We obviously cover our place with cameras. So yeah, we would benefit from having a home closer and to reach out for families and services that need the help, and to basically make them have a more functional lifestyle in being supported. So the structures is we do morning routines, evening routines, whereby the children are always have 24-hour care. They will be always supervised, so there will be no worries or anything from my staff that would obviously benefit these care needs for these children. If there was any issues to arise, we would always be with them. So this could be proposed by anybody, like coming towards us and approaching us on a good manner, and we would respect that. So if there was anything to happen, we would respect obviously neighbouring and the community really, and try and be respectful for the children, as well as obviously people in the community being respectful for us to care for these needs.
Thank you. Have you anything else to add?
No, that's it, thank you.
Thank you very much. Have the panel got any questions to the applicants for clarity? Clive, Councillor Jones. Sorry, Clive, I can't see you.
Sorry, that's okay, Chair. Yes, I've got 2. In the summary of the objections, which is on page 8, top half of it, second dot down, it states there up to 20 cars could be parked at the premises. Could I have clarification as to whether that would be the case?
No, I think, sorry, is it okay if I step in and answer that one?
Yes. Who are you?
Anthony Harris. I'm one of the, or I can deal with it when I'm speaking next.
Deal with it. He can't speak.
Yeah.
Right, Councillor Jones. I think the applicant can deal with that when he addresses committee
All right.
later.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Okay. Sorry.
That was the objector's. Yes, the applicant was it. Well, if Jodie can answer the question, she can answer the question.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks. Can Jodie answer that question, please?
Yeah, with this, sorry, Joe, with the staff, there's only 2 staff working here, so there will be 2 cars, the kids won't drive.
Yeah.
Can you explain that?
So there'll be staff members there. The children obviously don't drive, so the staff will have 2 vehicles, whereby they would use these for the children and obviously themselves.
Is that clear? Do you were question up, Clive?
Well, could I ask if there's 5 spaces there, for example, that's what it says here, will there be other visitors apart from staff, etc.?
No, we could take them out, so if there was any like family contact or anything, we would use our vehicles to take them for that. So unless there's obviously other authorities that are going to come, it'll be a space available for them then to park.
So if there's any more than 5 cars, they'll be parked somewhere out in the roadway somewhere.
Potentially there won't be no more than 5 vehicles there anyway.
Okay. A bit lower down, it says, under the summary of objection, if the business model changes, there might be adults, not children, living at the property. Could you clarify that the building model is what you've just told us and what's in the report, and that's not going to change in the future?
So we currently work with just children, obviously up to the ages of 16. They will then go on to adult provision, so they wouldn't be with us. The transition would be at for 16 post 18. So it'll be from an 8 to a 16 perspective, no adults.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Clive. Is that all your questions?
Yes.
Any more questions? Just for clarity, this is. No? Okay. I now will go to local councillors from wards affected by the proposals, and they can speak. The same as the proposer, you get 2 seconds to introduce yourself, but then you get 5 minutes in which to put your speech. Okay? Okay.
So I'm Councillor Michelle Simmons, and I'm the County Councillor for Bedlinog and Trelewis. Chair, members of the committee, I speak today on behalf of the residents of Gethlygate Road, Trelewis, who have voiced significant concerns regarding the planning application P220022 16 Gethlygate Road and the proposed change of use. Firstly, within the report, it is stated that the use of the property by 4 children with adult support would be similar to a typical family home, but also refer to there being up to 4 to 12 adult staff at the property at any one time. Residents are concerned that this is far more intensive than a typical family home. In terms of parking, it is stated within the report that the use as a care home with 1 additional bedroom would not result in a development that would be materially different from a house where occupants could have cars. In this instance, as the children and young people resident at the property would not drive, the number of staff present at the site would not be materially different from that of a dwelling falling under use class C3, and where 6 adults receiving care could live together without any need for planning permission. The statement that the use of the property by 4 children and between 4 to 12 members of staff not being materially different to a house where occupants could have cars, residents feel that this is misleading. What typical family home do you know that has 4 to 12 adults, each likely to own a car, present at any one time? Residents feel that this is clearly different to a typical family home, hence the requirement for a change of use in application. The anticipated increase in the traffic and the lack of adequate parking facilities raises serious safety concerns for both residents and pedestrians. Gethlygate Road is already a very busy main road, and I have consistently raised safety concerns with the Highways Department over time. Residents feel that the Highways reports haven't taken into consideration the extra 40-tonne lorries that pass this route multiple times a day due to a neighbouring local authority granting a significant expansion to their quarry. In the last 3 years, there have been at least 5 accidents, and that's not to mention numerous, if not daily, near misses. This application proposes a use that will involve multiple vehicle movements each day, not only from care staff and shift changes, but also visitors, social workers and service providers. The requirement to reverse or manoeuvre vehicles in and out of the driveway will increase the risk of collisions or obstruction, particularly in peak times. On-street parking pressure will also rise, exacerbating issues that residents are already facing, with cars mounted on pavements and cars obscuring clear views. This is not just a theoretical concern, it's a practical daily reality on this stretch of road. I urge the committee to recognise that the cumulative impact on highway safety and local amenity is not minor, it's material and significant. Secondly, the potential for noise and disturbances, particularly during evenings and weekends, threatens the tranquillity of the residential neighbourhood. Furthermore, residents are apprehensive about the change altering the character of the community and have expressed concerns about the adequacy of supervision within the proposed care facility. Lastly, there is a sentiment among the community that they were not sufficiently consulted about this significant change. I urge the committee to consider the community's concerns seriously and to evaluate whether this proposal is in the best interest of the community. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. I'll now go to the planning officers for closing comments on this? No? Okay. We'll now go on to questions on this application.
Yeah.
But
So,
me,
where was your
staff.
proposed about the staff? that is
Sorry,
gonna be 12
sorry.
members of staff
Can
at the time?
I interrupt you there? You can't
Yeah,
ask.
sorry.
You can't ask questions now after you've given your statement.
Oh, okay, no problem.
Yeah, as if the committee have any questions, Chair.
No. Okay. Have we any comments? Councillor Cliff.
I thought it was questions.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It was. I think because it took so long to get there, Clive, I assumed there weren't any.
Yeah. You're normally quicker on the time.
What I was waiting for, whatever was sent by the... It's on page 7, right on the bottom of the page, under publicity. It says, states, as a result of the publicity exercise, 20 representations have been received, and in brackets, with 13 of the objections from 4 parties. Could I ask one of the planning officers what they mean by 4 parties? Is that 4 residents, or is it a number of individuals?
Yes, I believe that's the indication there, is that we've had, of the 20, 13 of them were multiple representations by 4 individuals, yes.
And were they residents?
I believe so, yes.
Right. So we're talking about 13 objections between 4 residents. Is that correct?
So 4 residents have made between them 13 representations,
okay,
in addition to the other up to 20.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's done for me. Well, just a clarification, there's not going to be more than 4 children at any one time in this.
Based on the plans before you, they're indicating that there's essentially 5 bedrooms in total, 4 for the children, and 1 is essentially a staff room.
Yeah. And as you've obviously the case officer, the number of staff that will be there on any one day, in addition to 4 children, will be?
Well, it's been indicated that there would be around 4 staff at any one time generally, but there's a shift pattern, so there'll be times where you've got, I think, from what I understand, roughly every 3 days, the staff will be there. So when they change over, there'll obviously be a period where there's a few more staff, but as some go, new ones come in.
Could I ask, Chair, where the deliveries will take place? Because there'll be all sorts of deliveries, catering, etc. Is there a rear entrance, or is it just there, front entrance?
What, as in, postal deliveries?
No, I'm talking about if there's catering,
the only vehicle access is to the front of the property, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Councillor Anna Williams-Price.
Thank you. Just firstly, to pick up on publicity, obviously Councillor Simmons mentioned the residents felt that it wasn't adequate. Can you advise how the level of publicity is determined, and if there was anything within this application that was dealt with differently, please?
So the Town and Country Planning Procedure Order sets out our publicity requirements. The requirements is that you can either do just a site notice in and around the site, or you can do letters to neighbouring properties. In this instance, I think we did both. So we've done over and above what is statutorily required, and that's a common approach in many cases for these types of applications.
Thank you. And looking to the proximity of the property to a main road, and the potential for accidents and potentially historic accidents at this area, were South Wales Police consulted as part of this application, please?
South Wales Police were not consulted directly, but they are included in our weekly list, which goes out to a number of bodies, and so that they are aware of the application, and if they wish to comment, they're able to do so.
Thank you. And then finally, with regards to the nature of the property, is any regard given in determining the application to the proximity of other similar facilities providing care within the wider area of the ward, for example?
I would say usually when we're considering if there's an over-concentration of certain facilities, regard could be given to that if it was to a certain level as to completely undermine the character of an area, but we don't have any specific policies relating to that. So it's often not, and often there's not many cases where you would have lots of care homes located all in the same areas. You might have some dotted within the vicinity, but it's not often an issue that comes up for us.
Perhaps to that end, though, what you're saying is there's no significant issue with lots of these types of facilities being congregated in that area.
Yeah, we've not been given any evidence to indicate that there's a problem with too many care homes in the area.
Lovely, thank you.
Councillor John Thomas.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. As stated, it's a 4-bed property with a disabled at the back as well. Are there provisions for, like you say, there's 4 staff at any one time? Are there provisions for them, like they sleep in, if they're on long shifts, they sleep in? Are there provisions within this property for that as well?
So, based on the floor plans, which you can see on the screen at the moment, what they've set out is that on the first floor there would be essentially 3 bedrooms for the children. There's a staff room where they can sleep, where there's, as I indicated earlier, that staff would be required to stay overnight. On the ground floor there's a disabled bedroom and a meeting room, and then your sort of common living room kitchen area.
So there's no actual like bedroom set aside?
I think the staff room on the first floor would be utilised as a bedroom, and that's got connection into the toilets and things like that.
Okay, thanks, Dave.
Any further questions? Any comments? Can I have someone to propose? Oh, sorry.
Chair.
Councillor Declan.
I've got to raise this, and it's the same as a previous application of this type, and it's following on the concerns from the residents and the ward member in regards to parking and highway safety. I don't think enough thought is put into when purchasing these properties, and I don't think enough is thought of in regards to highway safety. The number of vehicles that are going to have to be parked there. When people are there, they're going to have to come out, move the cars that are going to be parked on the highway as well. So I have to raise this issue. I raised it, I think, in the last planning meeting in regards to another application as well. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Salmon. Have you got any comments on that? No? No? Okay. Can I have someone propose this, please? Thank you, Councillor Tovey. And a seconder? Okay. Yeah. Councillor Anna Williams-Price.
Thanks, Councillor Isaac. Yeah, happy to second to make progress. Thank you.
Okay. Do you need to say anything?
No, they just need to vote now.
Yeah. Yeah. Can we take this to the vote, please?
No, that's it. Yeah, so that's carried, Chair.
Okay, thank you, and that is carried. We'll go on to...
Let's get Gillian back.
Oh, yes, sorry.
And, I've rung the bell. I've rung the bell, Anna.
Yeah, Mr. Parsons.
Would you like to take a seat in the room? You need the microphone. Sorry again, I'm completely wrong.
It's okay.
It was almost getting to the stage where you had the casting vote.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
Yes, I will. Yeah. Thank you. Can I thank you for your attendance online, and if you wish to leave now, you can do so.
Would they have seen themselves?
No.
They were doing to me. We said it was approved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You did say it was carried out.
Yeah. So.
I want to just confirm that from Chen, because they didn't do it.
Yes, it's Jody it was, wasn't it?
Jody left.
Jody, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Just carried.
Yeah. Yeah. If you now wish to leave, you can do so.
Is it carried?
Is it carried?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, it's been carried.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Next one.
Yeah. We now move on to agenda item 4. P25/0101 1 Cum Cottages, Walter Street, Dowlas, Merthyr Tydfil, CF40 A3AP, to consider a report of Director of Governance and Resources. And David, you taking this again? Thanks.
Thank you, Chair. So this application relates to a semi-detached dwelling which is currently vacant and directly fronts onto the main road, situated sort of broadly on the corner of Walter Street and Broad Street. Planning permission is sought for the change of use of the 5-bedroom dwelling to a 6-bedroom house of multiple occupation. This would involve internal alterations to provide 2 bedrooms on the ground floor and 4 bedrooms on the first floor, each with their own ensuite facilities, as well as a shared kitchen, dining and utility room on the ground floor. There are no alterations proposed to the exterior of the building. It is noted that no objections were raised as a result of the consultation exercise. However, following the publicity exercise, a total of 8 letters of objection were received, along with a petition with 40 signatures. The concerns set out in the report generally relate to antisocial behaviour, highway restrictions, and concerns with limited parking and the background of potential occupiers that reside at the property. The merits of the proposed development is set out in the planning considerations of the report. In essence, the property would continue to be used for residential purposes, albeit in a different nature. The property can already be used to accommodate up to 6 people living together as a single household, and the development would not have any significant impact on the character of the area, and it's not evident that the proposal would lead to an over-concentration of HMO properties within the vicinity of the site. Whilst concerns have been highlighted in regards to antisocial behaviour, the planning process is concerned with the use of the land rather than the behaviour of future occupants, which is usually outside of the control of planning. Such matters would then be a matter to be addressed either by the police or environmental health, where there's a statutory nuisance. It's acknowledged that parking in the area is limited, that the property does not accommodate any off-street parking itself. However, it should be acknowledged that this would be the same circumstance for the existing use of the property, which could already, as I say, accommodate up to 6 people living together. For the reasons set out in the report, it is recommended that the application be approved, subject to the conditions on page 24 and 25. So just to go through some of the slides. On the left sets out the location of the property, as you can see, roughly on the corner there. The property is situated at the centre there, and that sort of just gives a bit more context of how it sits in relation to neighbouring properties. So this is the property as existing. The elevations are across the top. There's no changes to the exterior. As it stands at the moment, on the left you can see there's a kitchen, lounge and dining, and then on the first floor there are 5 bedrooms and a bathroom currently. It's proposed to reconfigure the internal layout. So on the first floor, you can see there's now only 4 bedrooms. They are slightly larger, and they all have their own sort of ensuite facility. On the ground floor, what was the lounge and dining area are converted then to 2 bedrooms to provide an additional one. And then you have a shared kitchen dining area and a small utility room on the side. This is the property as it currently stands at the top. In terms of the highway, you can see in the bottom picture, you know, there's the highway itself is quite narrow. There's limited parking on streets immediately outside the property. Similarly, you've got the same situation looking in the other direction. And the photo on the bottom there sets out a little bit of the context around the corner, where parking is generally accommodated on the street as it stands. Thank you, Chair. That's everything. Thank you.
Thank you. I now go to the public speaking element of this, and I call on Mr. Paul Parsons, who's the applicant. And the agent. Okay. Okay. If you'd like to, we'll give you a couple of seconds to introduce yourself.
Yep.
You then got 5 minutes in which to state what you have to say.
Yeah.
We will give you a 30-second summing up if you get to the 5 minutes.
Right. Okay, lovely. I'm Paul Parsons. I am Creation Design Wales. I'm based in Ebbw Vale. I just want to sort of agree with everything basically that's in the planning report. I think it's quite comprehensive. The property has been empty for a considerable amount of time. The front looks like it could do with a bit of tender loving care, but the back of the property is like a Hammer House of Horror. It's like it's almost like falling down. In fact, part of the roof on the back extension is sort of collapsing. It's been left so long. And it hasn't been utilised as a family home in that time. So I think that's a consideration. I understand that people do get a little bit fearful when there's an HMO application, but they are managed well, and most of the people in there are sort of professional, young professional people. People sort of imagine them, I don't know, as a den of drug dealers or something, but that's certainly not the case. They are extremely well managed. And I just want to say, just want to say the report's great, and I wholeheartedly support it. But I wouldn't do it because I'm the agent.
Thank you very much. Have we any questions to the agent for clarity? Councillor Salmon.
Thank you, Chair. It's in regards to the design and access statement and green infrastructure statement. Because you wrote it, I just want to clarify something. In it, you said there's a high demand for affordable rental accommodation in Merthyr Tydfil, particularly for young professionals and students. I'm just wondering where you get your students in Merthyr Tydfil staying in rental accommodation.
If you'd like to, that's it.
My client has got several properties in Merthyr Tydfil which are all let. So obviously he's eager for more, so there must be a demand for it. I don't particularly know about where students tend to congregate. There's no reason why a student wouldn't want to have one. We've got a big new college here.
Okay. Councillor Salmon?
Yeah, I've got to be careful what I say. I don't know if you actually come from Merthyr or you know Merthyr with the design and statement, with the design access statement you've written. I'm just wondering, at number 12 in the schedule of accommodation, I don't know if planning officers picked this up as well, that the number of bedrooms is wrong. It doesn't give the right plan for upstairs and downstairs for the size of the bedrooms and the number of bedrooms on the first floor and ground floor.
If you push speak button.
Yeah, oh, it's on there. That is probably my mistake. We did, when I submitted it, the planning officer did ask for some amendments to the plans, which we've amended, and it looks like we've got to amend the design and access statement.
Okay. And my last question for you is just for clarification. You did mention about sometimes residents are fearful in regards to what kind of use the property would have and who would go in there. So I'm just wondering, number 11 is involvement of community members, and really to put that to bed and kind of bring people along with the idea, if you're confident that there's going to be no trouble, why you didn't consult with neighbours?
I think the size of the application being of a minor nature doesn't require that we do a public consultation. Okay. And public consultations can be quite time consuming.
I just wondered that you obviously don't know the area, then a 6-bedroom HMO is not really a minor development in a small village like Dowlais and Pants. So, okay, I've got no further questions. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Clive Jones.
Thank you, Chair. Could I ask the agent, who is Trevor Claybrow? Is he an individual landlord, or is he a part of a firm that specialises in this type of accommodation?
Well, he is the owner of the firm, which is Beacon Properties and Beacon Developments. They own quite a lot of property in the area and wanting to increase property in the area. So it is a business, but he is obviously the owner of the business. It's not public housing; it's private housing.
So he has got or staff available in special expertise for this property?
He certainly deals with that kind of that type of property. Yeah.
Because in your statement, you say this will be well managed.
Mm-hmm.
Could you describe to the officers and the planning committee members what that exactly means? I mean, the planning officers may not be concerned about it from a planning point of view, but the elected members are. So could you tell us how it's going to be managed? Are there going to be staff who are back and forth there?
The owner is local, so he deals with all complaints. Obviously, he wants the best for his tenants because he wants to keep the tenants. So obviously, he wants to deal with any issues in a prompt and professional manner. I think that's all I can say, really.
And it's already been raised by Councillor Salmon, but I'll ask you a deeper question. Exactly who, as far as you know, because you're acting on behalf of the owner, will be the type of individual tenants that will be housed here?
That is very hard to say, but obviously they want people who are, they're going to obviously look for tenants who are good tenants, who are working and want to abide by the rules that there will be for living in an HMO.
And there'll be males and females?
Most certainly, probably, yeah.
And as far as you're aware, as the agent, are there likely to be asylum seekers put there?
He has no contract for asylum seekers at all.
Okay, thank you. Missed this one. It says on page 19 there's 8 letters of objection. I presume that they were all residents living in the same area. One of the plan officers must know that. Sorry.
Yeah. Is that the end of it, Clive? Yeah. Okay. Councillor Alan Hannah Williams Price. I just change it then to Alan.
I'm Gareth on the screen, so that's fine. Thank you, Chair. Again, addressing I think the recognised concerns about potential change of character, going from a 5-bedroom dwelling to a 6-bedroom HMO. Are you able to offer any comment on why 6 bedrooms rather than perhaps a smaller amount of occupants was decided as the best number for this property in particular? Thank you.
I think it was the owner purchased the property with the square meterage, and that is the best business model that he could have for the property, that it would support it.
Okay. Councillor John Thomas.
Well, thank you, Chair. You stated that the applicant has 7 other properties in the county borough. Can you, for clarity, just give us an idea of where these properties are situated, please?
I don't think there's 7. I don't know exactly. We're in the middle of looking at other properties, but I don't think 7 has ever been mentioned.
You did mention a figure of 7. Sorry?
Several, I think. Yes.
Same horse, different jockey.
To be quite honest, I couldn't give the addresses of them. I'm sorry, I just haven't got that information. But there is...
Because, you're saying that there's professional people who are going to go into these premises.
Yeah.
We deal with a lot of HMOs every planning meeting, and then...
John? He's given the answer.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks. Right. Councillor Salmon.
Just one quickly, it is. Has the applicant got previous experience of owning and running HMOs?
Yes. Okay. So I understand, yes. I've looked at several properties for him, and that's what he does, but I couldn't give the details. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. No more questions for clarity? No. Okay. Yeah. Right. I'll go to the planning officer's closing comments.
Yep, I just need to reiterate that appreciating councillors, the issues the councillors have raised there, but who the occupants are of these properties is not a material planning consideration.
So now we go to questions from committee members as normal. Councillor Clive Jones.
Try again. On page 19, top of the page, there's a total of 8 letters of objection on the petition. The 8 letters of objection, hopefully you know this as planners, were from residents in the same street.
I can't confirm exactly if they're all in the same street, but my understanding is that they are residents in the local area, yes.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Councillor Salmon.
Thank you, Chair. It's just one question. I'm just going to give an example. It's a recent planning application, not for a HMO, for something else. I'm just going to read it out. This was the reason given for the refusal of that application, which was a business. So you could change business for residential property. The proposal fails to demonstrate that sufficient parking can be provided that is commensurate with the scale of the development, which would give rise to ad hoc and indiscriminate parking along the highway and impact on the parking provision for adjacent businesses, to the detriment of highway safety and the free flow of traffic movements. So could you just answer me, what's different from this application to that? Because it's exactly the same. I would give that answer if I was writing this report, substituting the business for the residential property.
So the key thing that our starting point often with HMO applications is what can already occur. And I suppose in the worst case scenario, any dwelling house can have up to 6 people, 6 adults living together as a single household. And in that scenario, all 6 people For example, if they're professionals, they could all have their own car. Similarly, if you look at a typical household, the parking requirements for that is usually 3 parking spaces. In this instance, we would normally expect a house to have 3 parking spaces, but because the property doesn't have any, we acknowledge that there is a lack of parking, but the situation remains the same. I know it's a HMO, I know it's up to 6 bedrooms, but that is not that dissimilar to what could already could occur with an existing dwelling.
Yeah, I think just to point out as well, sorry, Councillor Slammer, I think there was no objection received from the Highways Department when consulted on the application.
Are there any further questions? I noticed there was a button pressed, but then it's been taken down. No? Okay. Have we got any comments from members? Councillor Salmon.
Thank you, Chair. Okay. First of all, the property has indeed been empty for a long time. But that, in my opinion, and residents' opinion, doesn't mean that you can just put anything there. You know, we have to be more aware of parking, and this is every single application. You know, the one earlier, one in the past as well, and every time a HMO comes up, it's always about parking. The last thing, if this application is passed tonight, and then subsequently, or if it fails and then subsequently goes down to PEDU and gets overturned, Councillor Paula Layton commented to me yesterday, why have we got a planning committee? Every time members vote against officers' recommendations, it goes down the road, gets turned over, and I don't know. I don't know why myself we've got a planning committee. You know, we are the local councillors. We know the area best, and we should have more of an input into things, but we don't. That's all I can say. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Clive Jones.
Yes, Chair. I think I must make this statement because I'm very surprised that the owner of the property, and I presume the owner's purchased it, is not here tonight together with Mr. Paul Parsons. I know he's left it to the agent, but there's certainly some of the questions that Mr. Parsons it was impossible for him to answer. So I'm just making that comment that I'm surprised that the actual owner is not here with the agent.
Okay, any further comments? Can we have a proposer then, please? Thank you. Seconder? Thank you. I'll put this to the vote. And that's been refused.
Okay.
Can we?
No. So where we find ourselves. Can you hear me? Yeah. Now is the application's also been refused. What I need to give you now, in the interest of transparency, obviously, is the reasons for refusal. Yeah, you want to do that, Declan? Yeah.
I think, to be honest, going on previous applications, there is only one reason for refusal, and that's in regards to parking, along with highway safety for residents, for pedestrians, and other road users. I believe I put that across properly.
So would the application be refused on parking and highway safety grounds?
Yeah.
Is the reason? Councillor Jones.
Yeah, I just wanted to support what Councillor Salmon is saying, because looking at the actual house, there's enough room for 9 people to be sleeping there. I just wanted to make that point as well, that's why I voted no.
And Councillor Clive Jones.
Well, in my view, there is another reason as well, because if you're going to have 6 transient occupants of this property on a constant basis, because that's what is, in my view, will happen, because we don't know, we have no idea who the potential residents are going to be. In my view, it changes the character of the area. That is certainly that street, in my view.
Yeah, just on that issue, I suppose it goes back to the point I raised earlier, where the sort of individual occupiers and who they are and how they behave isn't the material planning consideration. Like I think this issue has sort of been tested at some of the appeals we've had over the last 6 or 12 months or so. I think the issue that Councillor Salmon has raised as a reason for refusal is a material planning consideration, and would be a safer bet as a reason for refusal.
So, Chair, the transient nature of what, in my view, is likely to happen and is happening with other HMOs is not something will be looked at in any shape or form by PEDW.
Yeah, any reasons for refusal that were put forward by committee, they'd need to demonstrate the justification behind those reasons and fully evidence it if it does come to appeal process.
What I need to ask Councillor is, are we going for one reason for refusal, or also the second reason put forward by Councillor Jones?
Second one as well, if that's okay, because
it's okay, subject to what you've been told by the planning officers, that it's not a material planning consideration.
Well, change of character of the area, and I think the applicant in his design and access statement mentioned that it was students that he was looking to put in there as well. That would probably change, I think, the character of the area, as Councillor Clive Jones has mentioned.
Yeah, again, just on that issue, I think I'd reiterate some of the appeal decisions that we've had, and it's where reasons for refusal haven't been evidenced and haven't been able to be fully demonstrated. So I just urge councillors to bear that in mind when putting forward reasons for refusal.
You recommend that the second one isn't?
Like I said, the behaviour of the occupants isn't a material planning consideration. In terms of changing the character of an area, it's difficult. It's going to be difficult to demonstrate that one property changed the character. So I think you'd need to be into the realms of there's an over concentration of uses within a locality.
Okay.
Councillor Scott Thomas.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, Dec, personally, I would rather approach you with a strong singular reason rather than possibly wager on something that's obviously historically been challenged and possibly overturned on that basis. So I would go with what you said directly from the outset, and that would be my opinion on that.
Sorry, I didn't mean to sort of disappear.
It would probably be come down to me to write the report to PEDW, and having previous experience of dealing with PEDW, I would probably feel comfortable just demonstrating the one thing that I brought up all night, because I have been. But they haven't been very nice to me when they've responded to me in the past, to be honest.
Right. Thank you, Councillor Salmon. Okay. So, being perfectly clear on this, then there is going to be one reason for refusal, and that it be refused on the grounds of parking and highways safety. So what I need you to do now is that obviously needs to go back to the vote. Someone needs to move it, second it, and then that will take it through for the refusal.
Second.
So we can take it to the vote.
Can we take this to the vote then, please?
So we'll just be clear.
The one reason for refusal: parking and highway safety. Let's abstain. Clive's abstained. It's carried. It's been refused. So the application be refused for that one reason.
Right. Okay. Thank you. We go on to information reports on 5, 6, 7 and 8. 1 second. Do they need to read them?
No, the planning officers now need.
Sorry, I just can't get my screen to stuck. The screen won't go down.
Let's have a look. So 7, 8 and 9, then we need someone to move section 100 then.
Yeah.
If the council officers, planners can leave, I can leave.
Yeah. Once I get my screen unfrozen, we'll get on this. Right. So I have no other business deemed urgent by the chair on that. So we go on to exempt items. So can I get somebody to vote the section 100 once the officers are left, please?
Chair, I don't have to come back to it.
No.
Thank you.
Chair, I'll propose the section 100 as well.
Yeah. Okay. Wait till John leaves. He's going home early with too much of a smile on his face. Right, we're now in closed session, so we're going to... Sorry? Oh, yeah. Yeah, you've got to vote on the section 100. Do you want to do it by hands or on the screen? Okay. Yeah. Thanks, that's